Welcome to Never Dull Moment. I'm Greg Blythe, and today we have for you me trying to make a handle. The purpose of this video today is to show you how I took some simple materials, some simple tools, very inexpensive, and how those tools were not the right tool for the right job. And I also want you to see, as I had to advance in machinery, how the craftsmen who do this do have to have a working knowledge and even the money to afford this machinery and everything. So as you see me fumble around a workshop to make a beautiful handle, you will also see in the end that the handle was very short-lived because it only took a second on a sander, a little extra brush stroke you might call it, for me to ruin that handle. So in front of you, you see the different types of things that people do, the different materials from copper and different hybrid acrylics and woods and burls to things that look a little bit more natural. So every different size, length, every different combination of material to come out with whether it's a true octagon or more, or even the simple handles that just come on the knife.
Hold on.
You know,
Yep.
all of these handles took some craftsman somewhere time to make that opening perfect for you to fit your knife. So I hope you enjoy watching this video today, as I definitely stumble my way through the process of doing this, and that you can appreciate the money that you spend, the time, energy, and the craftsmanship it took to make these handles. So enjoy me doing something horribly for you.
But it was an interesting process.
It was an interesting process. Enjoy and be entertained. And as always, thanks for joining us this week. Please don't forget to hit that subscribe button. And for those of you who have subscribed, please do us a favor and go back and hit that notifications button so you can be notified when the videos come out every week. It's helpful to you, and it's helpful to us, and it's helpful to YouTube to know that we're doing something right. So enjoy the show. All right, so now we've got me picking out which blocks. I mean, we've got some very exotic wood we got from Exotic Blanks. We've got some basic tools. I mean, the total cost of these tools was under $100. We've got sandpaper, we've got glue, we've got some clear acrylic, we've got a hand saw. You know, very minimum equipment to do the work, just to show you that you really cannot do it with bare minimum equipment. So you're gonna have to make an investment. So right now you're watching me at 300 times the speed at which it was me sitting there with wood. This burl, it is difficult. It is, think of it as these knots that this little saw, you know, and you're like, oh, this saw is ridiculous. Yes, you might have invested in a better hand saw, but you still had to make an investment in tools. And that's the point I'm trying to make, is it was never going to be cheap to do this. It was never going to be easy to do this. And so if you're going to be in the handle making business, you know, and get $150 for a handle, you better actually have the tools. And you think about it, you know, it's quite a collection of tools you have to have, because machinery, like you'll see later in this video, you know, those table saws and band saws, I mean, they're not cheap. And so, you know, if you have all these things, great, you know, go ahead and make yourself a handle. You know, but if you don't, you go like, I'm going to spend so much money on these saws so that I can make some handles. You were better off just having a guy who makes handles all the time do it. So again, you can see my frustration, you know, the mess that I'm making. It's very difficult, you know, to get through this type of wood with all the texture and all the knots that there are. I'm frustrated. It's funny. So if you have a workplace, you know, if you have a garage, you've allocated space, that's great. You know, you're going to have a mess. I'm sitting on my back porch. It's obviously not like the best place to do this, but, so having a workshop, having the tools, the space, probably even wearing a mask because of having to breathe in the particles that are flying. And you can see the sheer frustration of trying to get through one piece. So even if I had a more complicated saw that was a hand saw, like a little better, it was still going to take a minute for one cut to cut one piece. I mean, there's a lot of pieces that have to be cut on this piece of wood. So now I'm just getting frustrated. I'm getting tired. I can't believe how many cuts I'm going to have to make on different pieces of wood to get different sections. So I finally have some success without a lot of breaks, calluses on the hands. And so here we go. We're going to finally get through there. We've got a piece. Now we need to sand it. So if you've got a big sander, again, machinery that you would need, if you're going low budget, then to just get a piece of sandpaper and to say, like, I've got a Rough Grit 60 sandpaper and that we're going to flatten this piece, it's going to take a while. So again, how much is the machinery going to cost for me to get the proper machinery? Again, now this clip is at 200 times. So you can imagine how slow of a process this would be. So you can see here, this table saw and having to cut these pieces, all of these little pieces. You need heavy duty equipment. And I don't know how many of you guys have invested in the money of this, but I started thinking about handles being $150, $125, $179, and buying all the different blanks and owning this equipment and the danger of owning this equipment, as well as, not just trying to hurt yourself, but cut everything precisely. If you think about the amount of pieces that you might cut that don't work, that's just wasted, or the years of experience it takes to do this type of work, so that you don't have a lot of waste. So here we're working with, an artificial polymer material. It's not natural wood. And cutting these different pieces at different angles. It's just one of those things that it takes expertise, it takes experience, and it takes the right equipment. So now you just saw like all of the different pieces we had going. I've got my buddy here. He owns a home remodeling company, and he was helping me because I don't have the experience, helping me to get all the pieces. He bought this particular piece of equipment specifically for me to use. He did not own the sander prior to me using it that day. I'm the first to use it. I'm having to figure it out on my own. And you are seeing me, try to eye this up. I think when I lean in, it's hard to get it flush on the lean in, and I'm starting to push a little too much on the top. I would have said personally that it took several pieces to get used to this, and what's that going to cost me? So I enjoyed doing it. I'm very proud of what we were making. The amount of hours that I had in doing this far exceeded the amount of money that you charge. And so I would say for those who are very experienced, they're the ones that can save the money and get it done earlier. But just wow. So now, here again, another piece of equipment, sanding, getting it flush. My buddy is showing me how to find the center with the different equipment, because we're going to need to be able to drill. And so to have, the right size drill bit and the drill itself, the mess that you have to make, the amount of room that you would have to have this equipment, the investment is amazing. So here we are getting this all squared up so that we have the center. We're going to be making this octagonal. So we definitely got to make a bunch of different marks, not only to find the center for where the handle is going to go onto the knife, but we have to be able to do that so we can cut all of the different octagonal angles onto the piece. So now you can see that we have this angle finder. I don't know if you call it a jig because it came on the machine, but we're able to go ahead and more precisely put the different angles on our 8-sided handle. And then we have something that looks like a handle. You can still see we're working on it. It's looking kind of nice. I'm very thankful for my friend's experience in this. So lightly polishing and finishing each side. And then after that, we're going to have to put some oil on there. We still have to drill. Now here we are hand sanding the bottom to kind of round the bottom. We've got the octagonal side, but we want to round the bottom edge. I'm learning how thirsty this wood is with the type of oil that you want to put on there for it to drink. Several coats of that, again, easy to make a mess. Having the proper equipment. So here we had seen this done. Again, we're figuring it out. So if no one's taught you how to do this, you have to figure it out. So we're going to be putting a dowel down the middle. And by doing that, it will have a notch in it that when we put the tang of the knife into the handle, we have something that wants to kind of cling to the knife. It's now that I've done this that I realize that I didn't need to do this. This would have been better to have drilled a hole on all of the pieces and slid them on the dowel. We're doing it in reverse. We glued up all the pieces, we drilled a hole, and now we're going to slide the dowel down into the hole. So again, experience, right? You know, so we're prepping the hole by drilling with a smaller drill bit to get ready. To drill with a much bigger drill bit. Again, like I don't own all this stuff. I don't have space for all this stuff, this equipment. So again, my buddy took the time to teach me, and I'm very appreciative of that. So now we've moved up to the next drill bit, centered aligned, drilling in just big enough so that we can put the dowel and that the tang of the knife will make it. And again, two guys who've never done this before trying to figure it out, like what is experience worth right now? I'm telling you, I could have used some of you knife makers there showing us how to get it done. My buddy's obviously pretty handy being a home remodeler, but this is not something that we just know how to do. So right now, after this blowtorch scene, you're going to see me accidentally mess up this handle. All the hard work, we finally got it on, and this slow motion footage is witness that it did make it onto the knife. But right after this slow motion footage, I put it on the sander, sanded it a little too much, and I destroyed the handle. So I have no footage after this scene to show you the finished product. So let's look at some handles that other people made who were smarter than me. Listen, thanks for being with me this week as we talk about making handles. And I think you can see from the video that you just saw as I attempted to make something from that was very complicated, and I try to do simple tools all the way up to having to go to a machine shop to make these things. And I hope you have a better understanding of how these handles are made and the people who do them, the designs, the different material, the ideas, and even my own story of hearing earlier of how my handle ended up getting destroyed in the machine shop before it really ever got on a knife. Well, it was on the knife for about 2 minutes before I went back on the handle and got a little picky, and then boom. So the people who do this really do deserve the money for their artisanship and their craftsmanship. So I hope you can appreciate what they did. Hopefully this was not a dull moment. We appreciate you always supporting us. Friday nights at 8 o'clock. We look forward to seeing you next week. Thank you and God bless.